But I want to focus on one major point tonight. And I think that we mentioned a lot about Matza, and someone mentioned Mitzrayim, which is Egypt. And I want to take it to a different place. I want to talk about Chametz and Matza. No one mentioned Chametz, which is fine, because that's good, because you don't want to think about Chametz. You don't want any Chametz around. Chametz, everyone knows what Chametz is. I don't need to explain, yeah? Chametz is the leavened products. Specifically, if you take any flour and water and leave it for 18 minutes, the enzymes start to interact, and you start to get what's called chametz, right, after 18 minutes. And we can't have any chametz. It's a big mitzvah in the Torah. It's a very strong, positive mitzvah to get rid of all your chametz. So again, let's just give you a heads up warning. This year, Pesach is on a Saturday night, so we do everything a day early on a Friday. So make sure, if you haven't yet thought about it, think about it now, to cut as much as possible to kind of start reducing your chametz products. And if you want to sell your chametz, the JD can help you with any forms to sell. You can sell it. Obviously, Josh's very big whiskey and gin collection, Matthias's chametz yerba mate collection, whatever it is. If you haven't, okay, fine. Maybe it's alfajores. Sí, señor, alfajores, señor. But whatever it is, you can sell your chametz. Just try and make sure you don't go into Pesach with your chametz. I had a guy who's an absolute joker. He's a bit of a legend in Jaili folklore. His name's Steve Feinstein. But he famously, one year, I was like, sell your chametz. Make sure you sell your chametz, right? Because I don't like to be pushy. I'm not a pushy rabbi. You know me, so am I a pushy rabbi? I'm not a pushy rabbi. But with certain things, I'm like, it's easy, just do it. Just sign a form and sell your chametz. It's great. Then you've done a mitzvah, brilliant. So I was pushing him, and he's like, okay, I'll do it. So literally 2 hours before Pesach, which is the time when already you're not allowed to own anything, he's like, just want to let you know, I've sold all my chametz to you. I'm like, what? He goes, yes. I'm like, yeah, I signed a form and said, I'm selling you all my chametz. You now own all my chametz. I'm like, what? I was like, absolutely going mad, because I believed him. And he's like, no, I'm just joking. So whatever. It gave me a bit of a heart attack. So anyway. So, Chevra, chametz and matzah. I want to talk about that tonight, okay? We're going to discuss that and what it represents, the deeper meaning of what chametz is and what matzah is, what Mitzrayim is. But I've got two questions I'm going to start with, okay? Question number one. Okay, everyone with me? Yeah, we're with me. Okay, right. Beginning of the Seder Night, I'm going to use Jordan's plate here as a prop. It's a bit dirty, but I don't mind. Okay, at the beginning of the Seder Night, we hold up the matzah and we say the following words. Halach ma'anya, this bread of affliction, right? That's also smiles already, like we thought on the Seder Night. Yeah? Halach ma'anya, ti'achla v'sana b'Mitzrayim. Our forefathers ate in Mitzrayim. Okay, this is the bread. And we say the words, kol dichvin, yesa v'yechel. Anyone who's hungry, let them come and eat. Okay, Chavra, there's a big question we should be asking on this. Okay, we're all very intelligent people here. We've all got a brain. What's a very obvious question you might ask? You're sitting on the Seder night. Everyone's sitting around the table. It's like 9:30, 10 p.m. at night. And you hold on the matzah, you say, this is the bread of affliction. Anyone who's hungry is invited to come and join us for the meal. Anyone's hungry, let them come and eat. Question. What's the question?
Don't eat for the next 2 hours.
We don't. In my house, it's next 5 hours, I think. Right? That's A. Great. We're not going to eat for a while. Next question. Quite an obvious one. It's not. It's not. We're not activating any super logic or any Kabbalah here. Jacob 11, line 3-13.
Why would you offer anyone a bread of affliction?
Nice question. Like, why would you have a better affliction? Nice. I like that one.
It's quite an embarrassing meal to offer somebody.
He's almost saying like Matzah's like it's like an embarrassing thing, like come and eat this cracker. Educate in the room. Alert. Educate in the room. Hold out. Help me out, guys. Come on, you're all very clever people.
We're not actually helping people eat who are hungry.
Say it better. You're almost there. You're like so close.
You know you're going to eat a big meal. You've got dinner coming. Like you're not helping like the homeless person.
Say it better. Say it, you're like circling. Come on, say it, Josh. In other words, here I am. You'll say, Adam, go on.
You're not offering bread? Or?
You're not offering bread. You are sort of offering, but it's much better than that. Chevra, phones away, or as I will smash them. Here we go. Listen to me. You got it. I know you know this. It's like this. Why are you inviting people now? If you want to invite someone to a Seder, you invite them 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance. In England, it's probably like 9 years in advance, this place. When I moved here, at the beginning, in Israel, everything's like, you invite people to come that afternoon when you do anything, right? Mm-hmm. If you make a party, you tell them like a day before. In England, I was trying to invite people to my kid's birthday party. Like, I'm sorry, we need at least 6 months advance notice for a child's third birthday. I'm like, oh, do me a favor. You know what I'm talking about, right? We need 3 months advance notice. Okay, so I'm not making fun. I love British people. I'm one myself. Now, Chevra, listen to me. Why are you inviting someone to come to your meal when you're already sitting at the table? That doesn't make any sense. Anyone who's hungry, let them come and eat. Now's not the time for the invites, Habibi. That was a while ago. You don't invite someone to come to your meal when everyone's already sitting down. If they're homeless, like you said, or people that really are hungry, you should be out there before the meal starts trying to find them to invite them. So why do we invite them now? What's this invitation that we have to invite people to eat at the Seder now? Good question? Shrina, yes or no? Very good. Okay. That's question A. Now, question B, interesting thing. We take the matzah a little bit later, and we have an order in the Seder. Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas, Yachas. I'll sing the song maybe later on, okay? But quite early on in the Seder, you take the middle matzah. Okay, this lovely, we have nice round matzahs, some people have square matzahs, whatever you do, I don't know. We'll see what to do. But you take this lovely big round matzah, and then what do? You break it. You snap it and you break it, and you have two parts, one bigger, one smaller, but you snap it in two, okay? So why are we doing that? It's an interesting thing as well. Like, we all know that, you know, in Judaism, wholesomeness is so important. To be whole is such a big thing. I don't know if you know this, but like in laws of brachot, for example, in blessings, there's something called kedima. Like, if I've got certain things in front of me, I'll always choose to say the bracha. There's a hierarchy on how you say a bracha. If I've got something small, like if I've got a bread roll, which is very small but it's whole, I've got a massive bread roll which has got like half of it cut, but it's still massive. Which of those two should I choose to say the blessing on? The answer is the whole one, because whole always trumps everything. Being whole, being everything complete is always the best. So I don't understand, why am I taking a matzah and I'm getting it, and I'm going to, at the beginning of the Seder, I'm literally ripping it like this into two. And I'd say, look, which one's which? And then I get the small one, I put it away, and that's going to be afikomen for later. And the half one comes back in here, and we continue the Seder. What is this all about? That at the beginning of the Seder, that we get this beautiful matzah, and we divide it, and we snap it. Anyone got an answer from like now? Jade, yes, welcome to the show.
Just thinking about like when you break the glass under a chuppah, is it the same type of thing? Like to remember that, I don't know, that there's been destruction and things like that.
Nice. I think it's a great answer. And I'm sure they'll probably talk about that. The idea that even on a Seder night...
Right?
I don't know if it's wrong, actually. I don't know if it's wrong. That's a nice answer. It's not the answer I'm going to give, but that would be very much like along the lines of... If you said that in my Seder night, I'd be like, that's great, Jade. Like, you can stay. I'm not going to kick you out. But that's a nice answer, though. Yeah, like the idea of like just a little bit of sad. It's interesting, by the way, we have an egg on the Seder plate. This is a longer class that I have about the egg. We put an egg on the Seder plate. You know that, according to one opinion, the reason we have an egg on the Seder plate is because there is a day in our calendar year called Tisha B'Av. Everyone here of the Tisha B'Av, Tisha 9th of Av? The night of 9th of Av always falls on the same night as Seder night. Whatever Seder night is, if it's a Monday, Tuesday, whatever night it is, Tisha B'Av will always be the same. So if Saturday night this year, Saturday night is first night Seder, this year Tisha B'Av will be Saturday night Sunday. You always know. Whatever night Seder night is, Tisha B'Av is. And according to one opinion, the reason why we have the egg on the Seder plate is to remind us that there is something called Tisha B'Av, and hence to, in a kind of strange way, also to remind us that as much as celebrating Pesach, the final redemption hasn't come. There's still people who are enslaved. There's still people who are, in that state of brokenness. And yeah, maybe like where we commemorate the temple being destroyed at a chuppah. So that's a great answer. You're definitely through to the next round. Okay. Anyone else want to try and have a little stab? Yeah,
I
Catherine.
don't think this is the right answer, but is it just like, I feel like a lot of the stuff we do on Pesach is like because we can, because we're not slaves anymore, and like it might not be the logical thing to do, but it's our choice to want to do it like eating to the left.
I think that would be for sure like some Kabbalistic Hasidic answer that I've never heard of before, but I think it's great. It'd be like a very Rabbi Nachman like answer. It's like, no, because you can do it, you just do it, smash things up. Throw the wine on each other because you can. I think I like the answer. I don't know if it's the answer I'm looking for, but it's pretty cool. I like it. Okay, so you got those questions, Chevra? Okay. So I'm going to pass around some source sheets. We know, again, these are for you to keep. They're used for references, whatever you want, however you want. But do me a favor, stay with me as we go through. I'm going to take you on a journey, and hopefully you'll come out of this room with a little bit more insight into Pesach, into what it means for you in your own personal
think it's just black and white.
Yeah, some are black and white, some are colours. So yeah, when they photocopy it, right.
And colours.
Yeah.
Okay, so stay with me, Chev. Stay with me. I've got Jordan next to me. I'm okay. I've got Jordan next to me. I'm okay. That's good. New pizza. Okay, everyone got? Yeah. Everyone should have. So stay with me as we go through this. Yeah. So I'm gonna go step by step, and hopefully we will have a better understanding of what's going on. So firstly, we said the word. We mentioned the word Egypt, leaving Egypt. It's quite interesting that the place that we leave, Egypt isn't just a geographical location. We learned this out, that it's not just the geographical place called Egypt. Egypt is representative of something. It's representative. Actually, it's a philosophy. It's a concept in the world, and we have to go to the Hebrew to understand what that means. Right? The word in Hebrew for Egypt is Mitzrayim. Mem, Sadi, Resh, Yud, and a Mem at the end as well. Mitzrayim. We do a final Mem, but it's just easier sometimes. People are like, what's going on, right? That's Mitzrayim. At the heart of Mitzrayim is the word Tsar, or Meitzar. Meitzar is a narrow strait, and Sar means narrow, and it also means pain. There's a very famous song that you all know and you like to sing, especially when you get together for any sort of lovely Jewish event that has the word Tsar in it. Help me out. What song is that? Thank you, Jacob. Yeah. Kol haolam kulo. Next words. Geshet Tsar Me'od, which means a very narrow Tsar, a very narrow bridge. So Mitzrayim in its root is the idea of Tsar, of narrowness. And we're going to understand this to mean, like, not just narrowness, again, in a physical sense, but narrowness in an emotional, in a psychological sense. To be narrow. To be narrow meaning to be very much focused on a world within yourself, with me, who I am. You know, it's interesting, if you look at this quote I brought you here, this is from someone called Mesilat Yesharim, the Ramchal, who I did a class recently for the ladies where I quoted the Ramchal. Those who haven't had a chance to learn with yet, it's life-changing work called the Mesilat Yesharim by the Ramchal. And I'd like to ask a volunteer to read. Anyone here? Any volunteers? Josh, thank you. Yeah, so read me here, where it says, in reality, this is one of the clever devices. Go for it.
In reality, this is one of the clever devices of the evil inclination, to mount pressure unrelentingly against the hearts of men, so as to leave them no leisure to consider and observe the type of life they are leading.
Okay, so what he's saying here is, there's something called the Yetzer Hara. We've defined it in other classes as we call it the anti-self. It's that part within you that's always looking to trip you up, to stop you from actualizing and manifesting in the way that you really could be in a very spiritual, wholesome way. The anti-self is great, and it's got amazing arsenal of weaponry that it can bring up any time to just destroy your hopes, your dreams of being holy and pure. It's got a lot of wonderful feedback loops that it likes to press play on, a lot of doubts, etc., a lot of lusts, desires, thinking here and now, instant gratification. The anti-self is brilliant. It's got a lot of great things. One of the best things it has is it's got an ability to keep you busy all the time. Because the minute you stop being busy, the minute you're able to get a chance to think deeply about yourself and who you are and where you're going, you will start to make decisions and changes in your life. But the more you're just head down into yourself, into your work, into your life, these things I've said, you've heard me go nuts constantly about them. They're great, they're wonderful, they are very useful. I'm not going to deny when you want to use Waze, you need to do banking, you need to buy something, you need to check something, to be communicating. I get to speak to my mother-in-law very often, which is great. She's probably watching right now. Okay, that's why it's great to see you when I see you. Okay, but they're also driving us insane, because we all know that, you know, the minute you have a moment with yourself, whereas in the past the person would stop and they would ponder, or they would think, or they would have a conversation. Next time you're on a tube or train, probably tomorrow morning, just take a look at the carriage and notice how many people just are looking down. Okay, now maybe in the old days you say, well, they were looking down newspapers and books. You could be right, but these things bring instant information, instant answers, instant connections that are normally quite superficial, and they distract us to death. Okay, now read on. Josh, you're reading beautifully. Give it to me like Like, read to me like Kenneth Branagh would read it.
Can't think I could read it.
Sir Kenneth Branagh.
Sorry. It is this consideration.
It is this consideration which underlay the counsel of the wicked Pharaoh in his statement, intensify the men's labours. His intention was not merely to deprive them of all leisure so that they would not come to oppose him or plot against him, but he strove to strip their hearts of all thought by means of the enduring, interminable nature of their labour.
Right, so Pharaoh, we always think like, Pharaoh was like, Moses comes to Pharaoh, let my people go. Pharaoh says, no, I will not let them go. And make their work harder. So we normally understand this, Jordan, right, as being like, well, Pharaoh was just an evil person, and he wanted to make them work harder because there was back-breaking labour, and he wanted to punish them through the actual physical slavery. But actually it's more than that. Paro represents that force that says, you know what? I know that the minute you get a chance to think about things, you're gonna dream. You're gonna want to think about other people. You're gonna want to extend yourself into community, extend yourself into chesed, into helping and doing these wonderful things that are good for you. I need to shoot that down as quickly as possible. And hence, what I'll do is I'm gonna make you so darn busy that you never have time to think about anyone but yourself and your needs and the things that are happening in the day to day, in the moment to moment. You need to have it right now. That's all. That's basically the voice of the Pharaoh in your world, in our world. Everyone go around and talk about who's the Pharaoh in your life, what is the Pharaoh in your life, yeah? But everyone understands this. It's that force that just keeps your head down. It keeps you inward. It keeps you very much focused on like my needs and wants. You know, it's quite a fascinating thing. Like, you know, we're talking now about the idea of what Mitzrayim represents. And within that, Mitzrayim is, you see the words even Memtzadi, you add a chet at the beginning, you get the word chametz. 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 What is chametz? Chametz is what you can't have, right? Chametz. Now, chametz in all the sources of in the Talmud and other places, it's always likened to ego, to the ego state. Chametz is ego state. Okay. Now, why is that, by the way? Why is chametz ego? Why is chametz ego? So there's a longer piece that in the back. I'm not going to go through it because I've brought it for you from Rabbi Nachman of Breslev. You know, let's read it. Let's read it. It's good. You're here. You hear it now. Jade Etzioni wants to read, so go for it, Jade. Do you want to read it? Yeah.
Rabbi Jonathan Sachs.
It says Rabbi Nachman of Breslev, Sipurei Masios. Read it. The last one, the last bit, the very last source I brought for you today. Okay, listen to this. This is Rabbi Nachman, who's a great. Oh, sorry.
Matza symbolizes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Matza symbolizes the fundamental existence of man, the inner dimension which searches for good and to do good. It's that pure part of you, the part that is free from foreign substances and from adulteration. It's the part of you that is free from societal pressures and influences, free from the need to fit in and be like everyone else. On the other hand, chametz represents all those habits, needs and superficial wants that a person finds themselves partaking of because of societal pressures and an inability to truly consider that which is important. Chametz is the need to appear successful, loved and important, needs which force life away from simplicity and sweetness. These needs weaken us and dry out our souls.
Pause there. Rabbi Nachman is pointing out it's very interesting. Like, when you think about it, if I get flour and water, I mix it together, okay, I wait 18 minutes. Pretty soon the enzymes start kicking in, and what happens? It starts to rise. What's the difference between bread and matzah? What's literally the difference between bread and matzah? Thickness because of what actually physically is it?
It's full of air.
Thank you. And it is, time and it's air. It's air. That's all it is. It's just more air. There's more air in there that's puffed it up. I take away the air, it just goes back to being matzah again. So really, it's nothingness that's puffed up into this. Like, look at me. I'm so big. I'm a huge brioche. I'm an incredible bun. I'm an incredible, piece of bread. I'm so big and bring out the air. Actually, you're really nothing, but you think you're something great. And Rabbi Nachman says that air is the superficiality. It's the need to fit in. It's the need to become like everyone else. The need to just make a life where look at me, everyone. I'm so this, that, and the other. Right? The ego that kicks in. It's about me. That pushes it up. Right? Whereas matzah is what you see is what you get. There's nothing other than flour and water. Nothing more. It's just me without the need to be more than. Take it away to the end, Robertson Jade.
Pesach is the beginning of a new chapter in our life. is the point when we can turn from darkness to light, from exile to freedom. For that reason, at this time, we need to take out our chametz, all those impostors who claim to be us the whole year round, and be left with our true, pure selves.
Okay, this is very powerful stuff. If you can, take this to your Seder nights, wherever you are, read this to people, right? Pesach is a time where you're being invited just to let go of all the stuff that you're carrying around with you that's actually not making your life sweeter and better and nicer. It's actually some ways making your life much tougher. But you feel this need to have to be something that you're not. And it's inviting you to get rid of that ego state, the unhealthy ego state that's things about me. What do I want? What do I need? What will I get? What will I get from it? How many times do I have conversations with people and I say, would you consider doing this? And they'll be like, well, what's in it for me? What do I get from it? Well, what way will I gain from it? I was having a conversation with someone a couple of years ago about chesed, doing chesed opportunities, right? It's so important, I find, to have somewhere in your life. I'm sure all of you do this already, but you have something in your life where you're giving of your time or your money, whatever it is, but specifically of your time to a project, and you're not getting paid for it. It's purely chesed. Okay, it's such an important thing to do. We're in a world where it's all about be a go-getter. But hold on a second, what about being a go-giver? Right? You've heard me say that many times, right? Be a go-giver. No, it's about being a go-getter. That's the ones that rise to the top. Be a go-getter. No, hold on a second. So I said to this guy once, I really think it'd be good for you to do like some chesed activities, which he said, he said, like, if it's what's in it for me, what will I gain from it? So you're missing the point. That's the whole point of it. It's not about what's in it for you. It's like, where am I giving in the world? Where am I stepping out of my comfort level and actually, going and finding a way to give? And everyone has a way to do that somehow, right? I don't believe that there's anyone out there that doesn't, right? But we don't do that. Why? Why do we do that? Because we're all good people. Everyone in this room is a good person and all sweet, lovely souls. Why do we do it? Because Pharaoh in our head is like, get up, work, check your email, check your Facebook, check your Instagram, check the TikTok, check the thing, run to the trade, run to the work, make your money, make sure okay, check the Tinder, check the this, check the that, go to the thing, go to the bar, come back, I haven't got time to think about myself, think about things in a deep way, in a strong way. And busy. That's Pharaoh. Busy. And it's all about me. I'm in my ego state because it's about my life, right? And it's understandable because we live in a crazy, frenetic world. And, unless you eke out the time, unless you choose to eke out the time, unless you choose to make time for yourself, by the way, Shabbos is that. Every week, Shabbos is the time just to step back, whatever, okay? But unless you take a choice, Pharaoh is going to be there constantly. So he's saying here, Rabbi Nachman is saying that Pesach is that one time in the year where you're invited just to work out what in my life is chametz, what in my life is matzah, what in my life is real, what in my life is fake, what in my life is this where is the ego kicking in? It's interesting, by the way, look at this, yeah? Check it out. It's very interesting because the word chametz is really almost the same word as matzah. It's interesting. It's such a small, look at this, yeah? Chametz, you take chametz, you take a mem, is mem. Take a tzadi, you get a tzadi. And you get the chet, it's a hey and not a chet. Other than that, it's exactly the same letters. Chametz and matzah. What's the difference? The difference is, and with this, I will use a different coloured pen just to emphasize, check it out. You've got either chametz is with a that. This pen's not even working. Look at that. The difference is, let's see more rubbish. Okay, fine. Chametz is there. If you take away a little hole in the chet, that becomes a hey. Do you understand? You see that? If I rub off a little bit here, now that becomes a hey. And you get matzah. It's all about a little bit of an opening. Making an opening in your life. Realizing it's not just the blocked out image of who, it's just me. Making a hole, making a gap. Inviting other people into my life. Seeing not myself as like just this little island, but actually I'm part of something greater. And come away from that ego state. And to think more about the community and where I fit in a deeper way. Now, Chaver, why am I mentioning all this? Right? Let's do some bit of the plug-in. So let's go first to the matzah. So why do I do this? Why do I break the matzah at the beginning? What's that all about? Breaking the matzah at the beginning, you know what it is? It's saying, you know what? I realize that I'm not just my little island. I'm actually just a piece of a greater whole. I'm part of something greater. I don't want to be this, it's all about me and my life and I just can go off and be my wholesome self. I'm a part of something. I'm a part of something more, right? I brought you this quote here. This is a very famous quote from Pirkei Avos, from Ethics of the Fathers, and it's quite a famous line that it's very much used all over the shot. The line is, "Lo alecha hamalacha ligmor." It's not for you to finish the work. Aval iyata ben chorin levata mimena, which means, but you're not free just to let go. What does that mean? It's not for you to finish the job because you're part of the whole. You're part of a system. You're part of a team. You're a team player. So don't think that it's just you. I'm not on my own. It's not just me. I'm part of something greater. But someone might turn around and say, well, if that's the case, so if I'm in a team, then I don't have to perform. I can just slack off. Other people will pick up the slack for me. No, you have to consider yourself as if you're 100%. You give all your power, all your strength into the team, but always remember you're part of that team. So that's what it's like. You crack open the nuts. You say, you know what? I'm not a little island. I'm a piece of a greater whole. I'm a part of a bigger puzzle. I'm a jigsaw puzzle piece. There's an incredible thing called the Jewish nation. I'm just a piece in that puzzle. Just like this matzah piece is a piece of this matzah. I'm a piece in a greater puzzle called the matzah puzzle, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But I'm just a part. I'm a part. But I have to give my 100%. I can't slack off. I can't be like, well, someone else will do it for me. I have to be present. I have to be real. I have to know how I can give, how I can show up. You know, Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson is a great educator. He gives a story. There was a famous American singer-songwriter and storyteller. He wrote a book called The Missing Piece. And it's the story about this missing piece. It's quite a cute story. You remember this now, right? And this story is about like a O, like a big circle, and the circle's missing a piece. And that because he's missing the piece, as he rolls through the world, he has to go slowly because he's missing a piece. And because he's rolling slowly, he gets to speak to everyone, and he speaks to the butterflies and the flowers and the birds, and he sees everything's going because he has to go slowly through the world because he's missing his piece, but he feels quite lonely. He wants to be complete until one day he keeps on picking up different pieces and they don't fit, until finally he finds his other piece and he's like so overjoyed he's found his missing piece. And now he's got his missing piece. He's rolling so fast through the world because he's like so complete. He doesn't notice anyone anymore. He doesn't speak to the birds and the flowers. He doesn't speak to the trees and everything. He's going so fast and he realizes actually I miss everything. And he says, well, to which he lets go of that piece and he goes back to being that part of the whole again, where he speaks to everyone. This is what the matzah is. It's coming out of the ego state, coming out of the me state, and interacting, saying I'm part of something greater. Come away from just me. Again, I was listening to this guy Joe Dispenza. Today I was to this podcast he did with the guy from CEO. What's his name? Diary of a CEO. Bartlett, right? Is that his name? Steve Bartlett. He did an interview I listened to it just the other day, and he was talking there about the idea of ego states, about the healthy ego and the unhealthy ego. So the healthy ego, when you have a healthy ego, it's about knowing who you are, about giving properly. The unhealthy ego is about responding to threat, which makes sense because back in the day, if you had like lions and tigers coming, you had to think, how am I going to stay alive? How am I going to stay alive? You got like a tiger coming for you, you got a snake about to bite you. How do I stay alive? The problem is we live in these states the whole time. When it's in the office, when there's some person who's like wants my job, or some person that's going to annoy me, or there's the dating scene, someone could snatch that girl from me. Like how do I rise to the top? And that's the unhealthy ego that kicks in, and we're in that state so much of the time. You know, the unhealthy ego, we want to come to a place of healthy ego, being comfortable with who I am, and all the things that I'm lacking, all the things I'm missing. It's okay. There are things that I don't have, and that's all right, and being okay and shalom with that. But again, what it comes back to the whole time is, I'm here, I'm part of the whole, and if I'm part of the whole, I have to all think about everyone else, and how do I give? How do I give back? How do I find ways to return and give to other people and relate to other people? And that, my friends, takes us to the first question that we had. First question we had, which was, remember the first question? Kol dichvin yesev yechel. Everyone who's hungry, come and eat. And we said it doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't it make any sense? Who wants to remind me why it doesn't make any sense? Because
we don't say it
earlier. Because you should say it much earlier. So listen to this chevra, Rav Kook. You've heard of Rav Kook? I've mentioned Rav Kook many times. He's my MVR, most valued rabbi. He's the chief rabbi of Pre-State Israel. This is what Rav Kook says. Rav Kook was saying that on that night of the very first Pesach that ever happened, everyone screamed out, Kol dichvin yesev yechel. Anyone who's hungry coming. What were they saying? They're saying the following, and this is profound stuff. Listen up. When you're a slave, you can't think about other people. because you have to stay alive. You don't have the capacity to say, what does he need? What does she need? How can I give to him? How can I be there for that one? Because I need to stay alive right now. I've got a taskmaster smacking me, whipping me. I've got to get the work done. I haven't got the capacity to think about someone else. Becoming free is the capacity to think about other people. The ability to notice other people. That's what freedom is. That I can come away from just my ego state and be in a part of that whole and be once again reinvigorated by the sense of giving rather than just taking. That's what it means to be a free person. And hence, Kol Dichvin Yesav Yechel, everyone who's hungry, come and eat, is just basically saying, look at this, I for the first time, this night on Seder, the very first one in Egypt, for the first time I can actually invite people and think about people. Who wants to come and join me? Who wants to eat? Are you hungry? Do you want something? Are you thirsty? Can I give you something? Can I hand you something? Because I'm not a slave anymore. I don't have to think about just staying alive. I can think about others. That's what it means. Anyone who's hungry, come and eat. Anyone who needs my help, I'm here for you. Because I'm not a slave. That's what it means. Now, I brought you this quote. This is amazing. I found this quote. Rabbi Sachs Zatzal. It's very, very powerful. Story from the Holocaust from Primo Levi. Primo Levi was an Italian Holocaust survivor who wrote extensively about his experiences in the camps. Listen to this. Who can read quite dramatically? Got the most dramatic. We already had a very dramatic reading here. Catherine, do you want to read to us? No, you're not interested. Anybody? Someone who's going to be a dramatic. Should I read? No. Ben, thank you for volunteering. Ben's volunteered. Nice and loud. Read for us the top. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs wrote once. Yeah.
Rabbi Jonathan Sachs wrote once that he puzzled over this seeming incongruity. What kind of hospitality is it, he wondered, to ask others to partake of your bread of affliction?
Pause there, which is what you guys said. Like at the beginning I said, like, come everyone, eat the bread of affliction. That's not very nice. You might much better say, hey gum, have a big slap up roast chicken dinner. That's a nice thing. What do you mean? Come guys, who wants to eat bread of affliction? Anyone? Any takers? So Rabbi Sachs said he never understood that. Carry on.
He discovered the answer in Primo Levi's survival in Auschwitz, one of the very first published accounts by a survivor from the most notorious Nazi death camp. Levi recalled the frightful days of January 1945, when the Germans had fled the camp and the Red Army was advancing. Most of the prisoners still able to walk had been evacuated, dispatched on the brutal death marches westward. Only those too ill to move remained behind. For 10 days they struggled to survive on whatever scraps of food they could scrounge. Levi, having found some wood and coal, worked to light an oven and bring some warmth to his desperate fellow prisoners. He writes, when the broken window was repaired and the stove began to spread its heat, something seemed to relax in everyone. And at that moment, Towarowski, a Franco-Pole of 23 with typhus, proposed to the others that each of them offer a slice of bread to us, three who had been working, and so it was agreed. Only a day before, a similar event would have been inconceivable. The law of the concentration camp said, eat your own bread, and if you can, that of your neighbour. The offer to share bread was the first human gesture that occurred among us, Levi observed. I believe that from that moment can be dated as the beginning of the change by which we who had not died changed from halfling prisoners to men again. Levi's words, wrote Sachs, provided the explanation he had been looking for. Sharing food is the first act through which slaves become free human beings.
Powerful stuff, no? This is supercharged. That ability to think of beyond myself is what it means to be a free person. A slave can only think about themselves. So this, my friends, is what I want to share with you tonight. We'll be talking more in 3 weeks' time. We'll go into more about how some other elements of the Seder Night kind of really demonstrate and show this. But just to recap, we asked, why do we say this question, everyone who's hungry, come and eat this bread of affliction? The answer is that actually we're shouting out from the top of our lungs, we're free people, therefore we can invite, therefore we can think beyond our four walls, therefore we can think beyond the ego state. And why this bread of affliction, right? Because this is the idea. I'm able to through this process that I've gone through of being a slave and now becoming free. It doesn't matter what we eat. I'm sharing with you. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. Why do we break the matzah? Why do we snap it off to say, I know that I'm only just a part of something greater. I've got to come away from this chametz state of it's just me to the matzah state of making a whole, making an entrance point where I can invite the world, I can be present with the world, and step away from the pharaoh of my life sitting on top of me saying, you, just whatever you do, stay alive, focus on yourself, don't care about anyone else, be selfish, look out for number one. That's the pharaoh in our lives. It keeps us busy from from dawn till dusk. So Pesach is this amazing opportunity every single year. The lights come on, the channels of light supernally are shining in every way, inviting us to break free and truly step away from slavery. Thank you for listening. It's been an absolute joy. I think we get around